Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I, Professor Said Guliamov, will be delivering today's lecture on Cyber Law, Lecture 5, Personal Data Protection in the Digital Age, Part 1. We'll explore the foundations of personal data protection, examining security measures, and the rights of data subjects. Prepare to delve into cross-border data transfers and liability for violations. This lecture will equip you with crucial knowledge about safeguarding personal information in our interconnected digital world. In the digital age, personal data protection has become paramount. The GDPR's expansive definition of personal data, as highlighted on the slide, reflects the complexity of our digital identities. Core principles such as lawfulness, fairness, and transparency form the backbone of modern data protection frameworks. These aren't just theoretical concepts, they're practical guidelines shaping organizational behavior. The slide also introduces pseudonymization and anonymization as key data protection strategies. The legal landscape's evolution since 1970 is noteworthy, influenced by human rights laws and international instruments. Regional frameworks, especially the EU's GDPR, have set global benchmarks, inspiring legislation worldwide. This global influence underscores the universal recognition that robust legal frameworks are essential in our data-driven economy, balancing innovation with individual rights protection. Data protection principles. The data protection principles outlined in GDPR Article 5, as shown on the slide, serve as the foundation for modern data protection regimes. These principles, lawfulness, fairness, transparency, purpose limitation, data minimization, and storage limitation, aren't just legal requirements, they're ethical imperatives in the digital age. Purpose limitation, for instance, ensures that data isn't used beyond its intended scope, protecting individuals from unexpected data exploitation. The principles of data minimization and storage limitation align with ISO standards, emphasizing the importance of collecting and retaining only necessary data. This approach not only protects individuals, but also reduces organizational risk. The slide also highlights the principle of integrity and confidentiality, underscoring the critical role of cybersecurity in data protection. These principles collectively create a framework that balances innovation with individual rights in our data-driven world. Data subject rights. Modern data protection laws empower individuals with comprehensive rights over their personal data, as illustrated on the slide. These rights, including information and access, rectification, erasure, and data portability, put control back into the hands of data subjects. The right to data portability, for example, allows individuals to move their data between service providers, fostering competition and user choice in the digital market. However, implementing these rights presents significant challenges for data controllers, requiring robust systems and processes. The slide also points out the necessity of balancing these rights with other interests, such as freedom of expression or public interest. This balancing act is crucial in maintaining the integrity of the data protection framework while respecting other fundamental rights. The effective exercise of these rights is vital in building and maintaining trust in our digital ecosystem. Responsibilities of data controllers and processors. The slide outlines the significant responsibilities of data controllers and processors under modern data protection laws, reflecting the principle of accountability. Key concepts like data protection by design and default, data protection impact assessments, and record-keeping obligations are not just regulatory requirements, but essential tools for responsible data management. The slide emphasizes the critical nature of security measures and breach notification requirements in safeguarding personal data and maintaining trust. International data transfer obligations highlighted on the slide reflect the global nature of data flows in our interconnected world. The concept of joint controllership acknowledges the complex relationship in modern data processing ecosystems, ensuring comprehensive protection. These obligations create a robust framework for personal data protection throughout its life cycle, striking a balance between innovation and individual rights protection in the digital age. International data transfers. As our slide illustrates, global data flows necessitate robust mechanisms for international data transfers. The adequacy decision mechanism allows free flow of data to jurisdictions with equivalent protection levels, creating safe data havens. In the absence of such decisions, standard contractual clauses and binding corporate rules provide legal basis for transfers, ensuring consistent protection across borders. The slide mentions the Schrems II decision, which significantly impacted this landscape by invalidating the EU-US Privacy Shield. This landmark case underscores the ongoing challenges in reconciling different data protection regimes. The slide also highlights regional initiatives like the APEC Cross-Border Privacy Rules System, offering alternative frameworks for data protection. Effective governance of international transfers requires a delicate balance between facilitating global data flows and protecting fundamental rights across diverse jurisdictions. Enforcement and remedies. Enforcement mechanisms and meaningful remedies are crucial for ensuring compliance with data protection laws, as our slide emphasizes. Supervisory authorities play a pivotal role, wielding extensive investigative and corrective powers, including the ability to impose substantial administrative fines. The slide highlights the right to compensation, ensuring data subjects can seek redress for damages. This is not just about punishing non-compliance, it's about creating a culture of accountability. The concept of collective redress mentioned on the slide offers potential for addressing systemic violations, providing strength in numbers. In cross-border cases, the lead supervisory authority mechanism aims to ensure consistent application of rules, preventing regulatory arbitrage. The global trend in enforcement actions, as noted on the slide, reflects an increasing willingness to impose significant penalties, underscoring the importance of robust compliance programs in the modern data landscape. Sector-specific regulations. As our slide illustrates, sector-specific regulations address unique challenges in particular industries, complementing comprehensive data protection laws. In healthcare, regulations like HIPAA in the US and specific GDPR provisions reflect the sensitivity of medical information, ensuring stringent protection for our most personal data. Financial data protection, governed by regulations such as GLBA and PSD2, safeguards our economic privacy. The slide also highlights telecommunications data protection, addressing challenges in electronic communications. Children's data protection, with regulations like COPPA and GDPR Article 8, recognizes the vulnerability of younger users in the digital space. Law enforcement and national security data protection aim to balance security needs with privacy rights, a delicate equilibrium in our complex world. These sector-specific approaches create a multi-layered protection framework, tailoring safeguards to the unique needs of each industry. The evolving landscape of personal data protection. The evolving landscape of personal data protection, as depicted on our slide, presents a complex and dynamic ecosystem. The interplay between comprehensive laws like GDPR and sector-specific regulations creates a multi-layered approach to safeguarding personal information. This slide emphasizes the ongoing challenges in balancing privacy rights with technological innovation and economic interests. Emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and IoT continue to reshape the data landscape, requiring adaptive legal frameworks. The slide points out the trend towards global convergence in data protection principles, coexisting with regional differences in approach. This highlights the need for international cooperation in addressing cross-border issues and fostering a globally coherent approach to data governance. The increasing importance of data protection in digital transformation underscores the need for continued evolution of legal and ethical frameworks in our rapidly changing digital world. Public awareness and future challenges. As our slide emphasizes, public awareness and education about data protection rights and responsibilities remain essential components of an effective data protection regime. This isn't just about compliance, it's about fostering a culture of data respect. The future of personal data protection, as highlighted on the slide, will play a fundamental role in maintaining trust in the digital ecosystem. The ongoing dialogue between lawmakers, technologists, and civil society, mentioned in the slide, is crucial in shaping the future of personal data protection. This collaborative approach ensures relevance and effectiveness in our ever-changing digital world. The slide also points out the challenge of creating flexible yet robust frameworks that can adapt to technological advancements. This adaptability is key to consistently protecting fundamental rights across jurisdictions and sectors, balancing innovation with individual privacy in our rapidly evolving digital landscape. In conclusion, as our final slide illustrates, personal data protection is a critical aspect of the modern digital landscape. It requires a delicate balance between individual privacy, technological innovation, and economic interests. A global trend towards comprehensive data protection laws, exemplified by the GDPR, coexists with sector-specific regulations addressing unique industry challenges. The slide emphasizes the crucial role of effective enforcement, meaningful remedies, and international cooperation in ensuring compliance and addressing cross-border issues. As emerging technologies continue to reshape the data landscape, our legal frameworks must remain adaptive and flexible. The ongoing evolution of data protection principles and practices, as highlighted on the slide, is essential in maintaining trust in the digital ecosystem. This dynamic field will continue to play a pivotal role in safeguarding individual rights and shaping our digital future. Organizational and legal measures for personal data security, standard and best practices. Introduction to personal data security. In our digital era, personal data security has become paramount. As our slide illustrates, it encompasses a range of measures to protect individual information from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or destruction. The CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, forms the conceptual foundation of this approach. The increasing frequency and severity of data breaches underscore the critical importance of robust security measures. International standards like ISO, IEC 27001 and the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, mentioned on the slide, provide comprehensive guidelines for implementing effective security measures. The legal landscape, as highlighted, imposes specific obligations on organizations to implement appropriate technical and organizational measures. This multifaceted approach to data security reflects the complex challenges we face in protecting personal information in our interconnected digital environment. Legal landscape of data security. The legal landscape governing data security, as our slide demonstrates, is diverse and complex. The GDPR, a cornerstone of this landscape, mandates appropriate technical and organizational measures for data security. It introduces the concept of state-of-the-art security, adding a dynamic element to legal compliance. In the US, as shown on the slide, the CCPA imposes a reasonable security standard. The APEC Privacy Framework, adopted by 21 Asia-Pacific economies, emphasizes protecting personal information against risks. The slide also highlights sector-specific regulations like HIPAA in healthcare, which impose additional requirements. This complex legal tapestry necessitates a comprehensive approach to data security, balancing legal requirements, technological advancements, and organizational capabilities to effectively protect personal information in our increasingly interconnected digital world. Organizational measures for data security. Organizational measures, as our slide illustrates, form the bedrock of comprehensive data security. The implementation of an information security management system provides a systematic approach to managing sensitive information. Key components highlighted on the slide include developing security policies, employee training, and implementing the principle of least privilege. The slide also emphasizes the importance of data protection impact assessments in proactively identifying vulnerabilities. The concept of privacy by design and default, mentioned on the slide, underscores the need to integrate privacy considerations throughout system development and implementation. These measures collectively create a robust security posture and foster a culture of security within organizations. By implementing these organizational measures, companies can build a strong foundation for protecting personal data in our increasingly complex digital landscape. Technical measures for data security. Technical measures, as our slide demonstrates, are crucial in creating robust security frameworks. Encryption, highlighted on the slide, protects data both at rest and in transit, serving as a fundamental safeguard. Network security measures, including firewall and intrusion detection systems, form a defensive perimeter against external threats. The slide also emphasizes the importance of endpoint security solutions in protecting individual devices. Multi-factor authentication, another key measure mentioned, enhances access control, adding an extra layer of security. The slide points to emerging technologies like blockchain and homomorphic encryption as promising avenues for enhancing data security. These technical measures, when implemented in conjunction with organizational strategies, create a comprehensive security framework capable of addressing diverse threats in our dynamic digital landscape while enabling efficient business operations. Data breach response and notification. Data breach response and notification procedures, as highlighted on our slide, are critical components of a comprehensive security strategy. The GDPR's mandate for notification to authorities within 72 hours and to high-risk individuals without undue delay sets a global benchmark. In the US, as the slide notes, state laws govern breach notification, with California's SB 1386 as a pioneering example. The slide outlines key elements of an effective response plan: incident detection, containment, investigation, stakeholder communication, and post-incident review. High-profile cases like Target and Marriott breaches, mentioned on the slide, demonstrate the significant legal and reputational consequences of inadequate breach response. These procedures ensure organizations can respond effectively to security incidents, minimizing damage and maintaining trust, while complying with legal obligations across various jurisdictions and sectors. Risk assessment and management. Risk assessment and management, as our slide illustrates, are cornerstones of effective data security strategies. The slide highlights ISO 31000 and the NIST risk management framework as structured approaches to identifying, analyzing, and evaluating security risks. Threat modeling, mentioned on the slide, enables systematic identification of potential threats. The slide also emphasizes the importance of vulnerability scanning and penetration testing in identifying weaknesses. The concept of residual risk, highlighted on the slide, acknowledges the impossibility of eliminating all risk, necessitating risk acceptance criteria. The legal implications of inadequate risk management are significant, as demonstrated by cases like the Equifax settlement mentioned on the slide. This comprehensive approach to risk management enables organizations to allocate resources effectively, prioritize security measures, and demonstrate due diligence in protecting personal data. Third-party risk management. Third-party risk management, as our slide emphasizes, is crucial in today's interconnected business environment. The slide highlights GDPR Article 28, which imposes specific obligations on data processors and requires controllers to ensure processors' compliance. Supply chain security, addressed in NIST SP 800-161 as mentioned on the slide, emphasizes a comprehensive approach to managing risks throughout the ecosystem. The slide outlines best practices, including thorough security assessment, reviewing certification, and incorporating robust security provisions in contracts. The shared responsibility model in cloud computing, highlighted on the slide, necessitates clear delineation of security responsibilities. High-profile incidents like the Target breach mentioned on the slide underscore the potential consequences of inadequate management. Effective third-party risk management is essential for maintaining a comprehensive security posture and ensuring compliance with data protection regulations in our complex digital ecosystem. International Data Security Standards. International Data Security Standards, as our slide illustrates, provide comprehensive guidance for implementing effective measures. The slide highlights ISO IEC 27001, which offers a systematic approach to information security management. The NIST Cybersecurity Framework, also mentioned, organizes activities into 5 core functions. The slide points out sector-specific standards like PCI DSS, which impose additional requirements. The EU Cybersecurity Act and ENISA, highlighted on the slide, promote harmonization across Europe. Importantly, the slide notes that adherence to recognized standards can provide legal protection, demonstrating due diligence. These frameworks enable organizations to implement comprehensive security measures, aligning with best practices and regulatory requirements while adapting to specific industry needs and technological advancements. By following these standards, organizations can build robust, globally recognized security practices. Technological advancements and challenges. Technological advancements, as our slide demonstrates, present both opportunities and challenges for data security. The slide highlights how IoT devices introduce new attack vectors, expanding the potential surface for breaches. AI and machine learning, also mentioned, raise complex questions about data protection and bias. The slide points to blockchain as offering promising applications in identity management and secure data sharing. Quantum computing, another advancement noted on the slide, spurs research into quantum-safe cryptography to future-proof our security measures. The concept of zero-trust architecture, highlighted on the slide, represents a paradigm shift in network security, emphasizing continuous verification. As organizations navigate these advancements, they must continually adapt their security strategies to address emerging risks and leverage new protective capabilities, balancing innovation with robust data protection in our increasingly complex technological landscape. Conclusion and future outlook. In conclusion, as our final slide illustrates, protecting personal data in the digital age requires a holistic approach integrating legal compliance, organizational measures, and technical controls. The slide emphasizes the need for organizations to foster a security culture that balances robust protection with usability and efficiency. International cooperation, highlighted on the slide, is crucial for addressing global challenges in our interconnected world. The slide points to privacy-enhancing technologies as offering promising avenues for data protection. Importantly, the slide underscores that robust data security measures are critical for maintaining trust, protecting privacy rights, and ensuring digital ecosystem resilience. As we look to the future, the evolving landscape of personal data protection will continue to play a pivotal role in shaping our digital world, requiring ongoing adaptation and innovation. Rights and obligations of personal data subjects, specifics of implementation in the digital environment, introduction to data subject rights. In our digital age, data subject rights have emerged as the cornerstone of modern privacy legislation. As shown on the slide, these rights, including access, rectification, erasure, and data portability, serve as powerful tools for individuals to assert control over their personal information. However, the era of big data and ubiquitous data collection presents significant challenges in exercising these rights. The slide highlights the guidance provided by the Article 29 Working Party, emphasizing the critical importance of transparency and accessibility in implementation. This shift in power dynamics between individuals and data processors, noted on the slide, reflects a fundamental rebalancing of control in the digital ecosystem. As we navigate this complex landscape, these rights become increasingly crucial in safeguarding individual autonomy and privacy in our interconnected world. Right to information and access. The right to information and access, as our slide illustrates, forms the foundation of data subject empowerment. GDPR Articles 13 and 14, highlighted on the slide, mandate comprehensive disclosure from data controllers about processing purposes, retention periods, and automated decision-making. This transparency enables individuals to understand and verify the lawfulness of personal data processing. The right of access, also mentioned, allows individuals to obtain confirmation of data processing and receive copies of their data. However, as the slide notes, presenting technical information comprehensively poses significant challenges. The NOAC v. Data Protection Commissioner case, referenced on the slide, clarified the broad scope of personal data subject to access rights, underscoring the expansive nature of this fundamental right in the digital age. Rights to rectification and erasure. The rights to rectification and erasure, as our slide demonstrates, provide individuals with powerful tools to maintain data accuracy and control. GDPR Article 16, mentioned on the slide, allows for the correction of inaccurate data, a process that becomes increasingly complex in big data environments. The right to be forgotten, enshrined in GDPR Article 17 and highlighted on the slide, enables data deletion under certain circumstances, reflecting the evolving nature of privacy in the digital age. However, as the slide points out, exceptions exist for legal obligations, public health interests, and archiving purposes. The technical challenges of implementing these rights in distributed systems, noted on the slide, underscore the complexity of balancing individual privacy interests with the societal benefits of data retention and accessibility in our interconnected digital world. Right to data portability. The right to data portability, as our slide illustrates, represents a groundbreaking shift in empowering individuals while fostering competition in the digital economy. This right, highlighted on the slide, allows data subjects to receive their data in a structured, machine-readable format and transmit it to another controller. However, as the slide points out, technical challenges involving standardized formats and interoperable systems complicate its implementation. The slide's mention of sector-specific initiatives like open banking demonstrates the transformative potential of this right. Balancing data portability against intellectual property rights and trade secrets, a challenge noted on the slide, adds another layer of complexity. This right not only enhances individual control over personal data, but also has the potential to reshape market dynamics in our data-driven economy. Right not to be subject to automated decision-making. The right not to be subject to automated decision-making, as our slide shows, addresses growing concerns about algorithmic governance and AI. GDPR Article 22, highlighted on the slide, prohibits solely automated decisions with significant effect, with certain exceptions. This right reflects an increasing awareness of AI's impact on individuals and the need for human oversight in significant decisions. The challenges, as noted on the slide, include defining solely automated decisions and explaining AI-driven outcomes, underscoring the complexity of implementing this right. The safeguards mentioned, including the right to human intervention and contesting decisions, provide critical protections. The intersection with anti-discrimination laws, pointed out on the slide, adds another layer of complexity to this evolving area of data protection law. Rights to object and restrict processing. The rights to object and restrict processing, as our slide illustrates, provide individuals with additional control mechanisms over their personal data. GDPR Article 21, highlighted on the slide, establishes the right to object to processing based on legitimate interest or public interest. Article 18, also mentioned, allows for restricting processing in specific circumstances. The CCPAS opt-out rights, noted on the slide, enable California residents to prevent personal information sales, demonstrating the global trend towards empowering individuals. However, as the slide points out, implementing these rights in complex data ecosystems is challenging, requiring granular control over processing activities. The concept of compelling legitimate grounds for continued processing, mentioned on the slide, introduces a nuanced, case-by-case balancing test in the application of these rights. Responsibilities of data subjects. While much focus is placed on the rights of data subjects, our slide highlights the often overlooked responsibilities that accompany these rights. As shown, data protection regulations implicitly establish obligations for individuals in managing their personal data. These include providing accurate information, informing controllers of changes, and exercising rights in good faith. The slide notes that some jurisdictions recognize abusive exercise of rights, allowing controllers to refuse or charge for unfounded requests. This underscores the need for responsible engagement by data subjects. The slide also emphasizes the necessity of balancing data subject rights with broader societal interests, particularly in contexts like public health or law enforcement. The shared responsibility for data protection in the digital age, highlighted on the slide, reflects the complex interplay between individual rights and collective interests. Challenges in exercising data subject rights. Exercising data subject rights in the digital environment presents unique challenges, as our slide illustrates. Robust identity verification, highlighted on the slide, is crucial to prevent unauthorized access, balancing security with accessibility. The slide notes that while online portals and tools can streamline rights exercise, fragmented data across platforms complicates comprehensive implementation. The role of data protection authorities in providing guidance and intervening in disputes, mentioned on the slide, underscores the need for regulatory support. Privacy by design principles, also highlighted, emphasize integrating data protection into system development from the outset. The slide's mention of privacy-enhancing technologies like personal information management systems points to promising avenues for empowerment, showcasing how technological innovation can support the practical realization of data subject rights. Limitations and exemptions to data subject rights. While data subject rights are fundamental, our slide illustrates that they are not absolute. GDPR Article 23, highlighted on the slide, allows for restrictions necessary for national security, defense, or public interest. The CCPAS exemptions for legal compliance and certain business transactions, also noted, demonstrate similar considerations in other jurisdictions. The slide points out that controllers can refuse manifestly unfounded or excessive requests, introducing a practical limit to rights exercise. Balancing these rights with other fundamental rights, like freedom of expression, requires careful consideration, as the slide emphasizes. The concept of disproportionate effort, mentioned on the slide, acknowledges practical limitations for controllers, reflecting a pragmatic approach to rights implementation in complex data processing environments. Conclusion and future outlook. As we conclude, our slide emphasizes that the rights and obligations of data subjects in the digital environment are critical for empowering individuals and ensuring responsible data processing. The implementation challenges in complex digital ecosystems, highlighted on the slide, necessitate ongoing innovation in legal frameworks and technology. The crucial role of data protection authorities in enforcement and promotion, noted on the slide, underscores the need for strong regulatory oversight. Privacy by design principles, mentioned as a promising approach, offer a path to embedding data protection into systems and processes from the outset. The slide's conclusion that realizing a fair digital ecosystem depends on empowering responsible data subjects, supported by robust legal frameworks and innovative technologies, encapsulates the multifaceted approach required to navigate the evolving landscape of data protection. Cross-border transfer of personal data, conditions, restriction, and protection mechanisms. Introduction to cross-border data transfers. In our globalized digital economy, cross-border data transfers have become the lifeblood of international trade and innovation. As our slide illustrates, the legal landscape governing these transfers has undergone a remarkable evolution since the 1980 OECD guidelines. This transformation reflects the growing recognition of privacy as a fundamental right in our increasingly interconnected world. The slide highlights the EU's approach, particularly the GDPR, which has significantly influenced global standards. Regional initiatives like the APEC CBPR system, mentioned on the slide, offer alternative mechanisms for responsible data flows. These diverse approaches underscore a critical challenge in our digital age, balancing the need for seamless data transfers with the imperative of protecting individual privacy rights. This delicate equilibrium shapes the complex terrain that policymakers and organizations must navigate in our data-driven global economy. Legal frameworks for cross-border data transfers. The legal landscape for cross-border data transfer, as our slide demonstrates, is a complex tapestry of diverse approaches. The GDPR's tiered system, highlighted on the slide, prioritizes adequacy decisions, appropriate safeguards, and specific derogations, setting a global benchmark. In contrast, the APEC CBPR system, also mentioned, offers a more flexible, accountability-based approach. The slide points out significant national laws, such as China's cybersecurity law and Brazil's LGPD, which introduce their own unique provisions. Bilateral and multilateral agreements further complicate this landscape, as evidenced by the now invalidated EU-US Privacy Shield. This diverse regulatory environment reflects the ongoing challenge of balancing data protection with the needs of international commerce. As we navigate this complex terrain, it becomes clear that a nuanced understanding of these varied frameworks is essential for compliant and ethical cross-border data transfers. Adequacy decisions. Adequacy decisions, as our slide illustrates, form the cornerstone of the EU's approach to cross-border data transfers. GDPR Article 45, highlighted on the slide, outlines this concept, which essentially declares that a third country ensures an adequate level of data protection The comprehensive assessment criteria noted on the slide cover factors ranging from the rule of law and human rights to specific legislation and independent supervision. The slide mentions several jurisdictions recognized as adequate, including Japan, South Korea, and the post-Brexit UK. However, the Schrems II judgment also dramatically underscored the precarious nature of these decisions by invalidating the EU-US Privacy Shield. This landmark case led to recommendations for supplementary measures, emphasizing the need for ongoing assessment of third countries' data protection landscapes. Adequacy decisions thus represent a dynamic and critical aspect of the global data protection ecosystem. Appropriate safeguards. When adequacy decisions are unavailable, organizations must rely on appropriate safeguards for legitimate cross-border data transfers. As our slide outlines, GDPR Article 46 provides several options, including standard contractual clauses, binding corporate rule, approved codes of conduct, and certification mechanisms. The Schrems II decision mentioned on the slide has significantly complicated this landscape, necessitating supplementary measures to address potential deficiencies in third country legal protections. These may include technical, contractual, and organizational measures. The slide emphasizes the importance of thorough data protection impact assessments in evaluating risk and the effectiveness of mitigation measures. This complex framework underscores the need for a multifaceted, carefully considered approach to ensure compliance and effective data protection in cross-border transfers, reflecting the evolving nature of global data protection standards. Derogations for specific situations. GDPR Article 49, as our slide highlights, provides a set of derogations for specific situations where adequacy decisions or appropriate safeguards are absent. These derogations, interpreted restrictively for occasional, non-repetitive transfers, include scenarios such as explicit consent, contract necessity, public interest, legal claims, vital interest, and public register transfers. The slide also mentions the last resort option based on compelling legitimate interest of the controller, subject to strict conditions. This framework, as illustrated, provides essential flexibility for critical transfers while maintaining high standards of data protection. The restrictive interpretation of these derogations, emphasized on the slide, underscores the importance of careful assessment and documentation when relying on these exceptional provisions. This balanced approach allows for necessary data flows while safeguarding individual privacy rights in our interconnected digital world. Data localization requirements. Data localization requirements, as our slide illustrates, have emerged as a significant factor in the landscape of cross-border data transfers. Countries like Russia, China, and India, mentioned on the slide, have implemented or proposed strict localization measures for certain data categories. These requirements often conflict with principles of free data flow, creating a complex terrain for multinational companies to navigate. The slide highlights the ongoing debate surrounding the economic impact of data localization, with studies suggesting potential negative effects on GDP and investments. The concept of data sovereignty noted on the slide underpins many of these localization efforts, reflecting concerns about national security, law enforcement access, and economic competitiveness. This trend underscores the growing tension between global digital integration and national control over data resources, shaping the future of international data flows. International data transfer agreements. International data transfer agreements, as our slide demonstrates, play a crucial role in facilitating cross-border flows while ensuring data protection. The invalidation of the EU-US Privacy Shield, highlighted on the slide, underscores the challenges in reconciling different approaches to data protection and surveillance across jurisdictions. Regional frameworks like the APEC CBPR system and ASEAN model contractual clauses, mentioned on the slide, offer promising avenues for harmonizing data protection practices. The slide also points to bilateral agreements, such as the Japan-UK data transfer deal, as examples of tailored arrangements addressing specific cross-border data flow needs. These agreements represent ongoing efforts to balance robust data protection with the demands of our global digital economy. As we navigate this complex landscape, these international frameworks will continue to shape the future of cross-border data transfers. Enforcement of cross-border transfer rules. Enforcement of cross-border transfer rule, as our slide illustrates, is critical for ensuring the effectiveness of data protection regulations. The GDPR, highlighted on the slide, empowers authorities to impose substantial fines for violations, demonstrating the serious consequences of non-compliance. The slide emphasizes the crucial role of supervisory authorities in monitoring and investigating potential infractions. However, as noted, enforcing rules against entities without EU presence poses significant challenges, often necessitating international cooperation. The concept of extraterritorial jurisdiction, mentioned on the slide, extends the reach of EU law, though practical enforcement remains complex. Beyond formal penalties, the slide points out that organizations face significant reputational risks for non-compliance. This multifaceted enforcement landscape underscores the importance of robust compliance strategies in managing cross-border data transfers in our interconnected digital world. Technical and organizational measures. Technical and organizational measures, as our slide demonstrates, form the backbone of securing cross-border data transfers. The slide highlights key measures including state-of-the-art encryption, VPNs, pseudonymization, robust access control, and data minimization strategies. Secure file transfer protocol, regular security audits, and comprehensive employee training programs are emphasized as vital components of a robust data protection strategy. The slide underscores the importance of implementing these measures based on thorough risk assessment, considering the specific threats and vulnerabilities associated with each transfer scenario. The evolving nature of cyber threats, noted on the slide, necessitates ongoing adaptation and improvement of these safeguards. This dynamic approach to technical and organizational measures is essential for maintaining the security and integrity of cross-border data transfers in our increasingly complex digital landscape. Conclusion and future outlook. As we conclude, our slide emphasizes that the landscape of cross-border data transfers presents a complex interplay of legal, technical, and organizational challenges. The ongoing need to balance data protection with free information flow, highlighted on the slide, reflects the tension between safeguarding privacy and enabling our data-driven global economy. The slide points to data localization trends as a significant challenge to global business operations. Achieving a balance between robust protection and necessary data flows, as the slide suggests, requires ongoing dialogue, international cooperation, and innovative privacy-enhancing technologies. The governance of cross-border data transfer, emphasized as pivotal on the slide, will continue to shape our global information society. This evolving landscape demands adaptive and nuanced approaches to address emerging challenges, underscoring the dynamic nature of data protection in our interconnected world. Liability for violations of personal data legislation, types and grounds for application. Introduction to liability in data protection law. In the realm of data protection, liability serves as the guardian of privacy rights and the enforcer of compliance. As our slide illustrates, this liability encompasses a triad of consequences: administrative, civil, and criminal. The trend towards stricter penalties, highlighted on the slide, reflects the growing recognition of personal data's value and privacy as a fundamental right. The OECD report mentioned in our slide underscores the diverse approaches to liability across jurisdictions, pointing to the global nature of this challenge. This complex framework, as noted, serves a dual purpose: deterring violations and providing mechanisms for redress. The adaptability of this liability landscape, emphasized on the slide, mirrors the dynamic nature of our digital environment. As we navigate this evolving terrain, the interplay between these forms of liability shapes the compliance and enforcement landscape in data protection. GDPR's Administrative Liability Framework. The GDPR's Administrative Liability Framework, as our slide demonstrates, represents a seismic shift in data protection enforcement. The two-tiered system of fines, highlighted on the slide, with maximum penalties of €20 million or 4% of global annual turnover, underscores the serious financial consequences of non-compliance. Article 83, mentioned in our slide, provides a nuanced approach to imposing fines, considering factors such as the nature, gravity, and duration of infringements. The slide's reference to high-profile cases, like the €50 million fine imposed on Google by CNIL, illustrates the real-world impact of these regulations. The European Data Protection Board emphasis on effectiveness, proportionality, and dissuasiveness, noted on the slide, guides the application of these fines. However, as our slide points out, enforcing fines against entities without EU presence remains a challenge, highlighting the need for international cooperation in our interconnected digital world. Civil liability and compensation rights. Civil liability and compensation rights, as outlined on our slide, form a critical pillar of data protection enforcement. GDPR Article 82, highlighted here, empowers data subjects to seek compensation for both material and non-material damage resulting from GDPR infringements. This recognition of intangible harm, noted on the slide, marks a significant evolution in privacy protection. The slide's mention of collective redress introduces a powerful tool for addressing large-scale breaches, potentially reshaping the landscape of data protection litigation. The emergence of cyber insurance, also noted, reflects the financial sector's response to these new liabilities. As our slide indicates, the intersection of data protection liability with tort law presents complex legal questions across jurisdictions. This multifaceted approach to civil liability not only provides avenues for individual redress, but also serves as a potent deterrent, shaping organizational approaches to data protection. Criminal liability for data protection violations. Criminal liability, as our slide illustrates, represents the most severe sanction in the data protection enforcement arsenal. GDPR Article 84, highlighted here, mandates member states to establish rules on penalties, including criminal ones for serious violations. The slide's mention of varied implementation across jurisdictions, with examples from the UK, France, and Germany, underscores the diverse approaches to criminalizing data protection breaches. The US CCPA's inclusion of criminal penalties, noted on the slide, demonstrates this trend's global nature. However, as our slide points out, prosecuting these cases presents unique challenges, including establishing intent and requiring specialized knowledge from law enforcement. The ongoing debate about the deterrent effect of criminal sanctions, mentioned on the slide, reflects the complex considerations in shaping an effective enforcement regime. This criminal liability framework serves as the ultimate deterrent, emphasizing the gravity of data protection in our digital age. Corporate liability in data protection. Corporate liability in data protection, as our slide demonstrates, has taken center stage as the consequences of non-compliance escalate. GDPR Article 24, highlighted here, mandates controllers to implement appropriate measures ensuring compliance, underpinned by the accountability principle. The slide's emphasis on the role of data protection officers underscores their importance in mitigating liability risks. The concept of vicarious liability, noted on the slide, extends corporate responsibility to employee actions, highlighting the critical need for comprehensive training. As our slide points out, documented compliance programs are crucial in mitigating liability, often influencing regulators' penalty assessments. The intersection with corporate governance principle, mentioned here, elevates data protection to a board-level concern. This comprehensive framework of corporate responsibility, as illustrated on our slide, ensures organizations adopt a top-down approach to data protection compliance, reflecting its strategic importance in modern business operations. Liability challenges in international data transfers. International data transfers, as our slide illustrates, present a complex web of liability challenges in our global data economy. GDPR Chapter V, highlighted here, establishes a framework for such transfers, with intricate liability allocation exemplified in standard contractual clauses. The slide's mention of the Schrems II judgment underscores the seismic shift in this landscape, invalidating the EU-US Privacy Shield and necessitating case-by-case assessment of third-country standards. As noted on the slide, joint liability in international data sharing adds another layer of complexity, especially across jurisdictions. The mention of binding corporate rules offers a glimpse into mechanisms for managing intergroup liability in multinationals. However, as our slide points out, enforcing liability across jurisdictions remains a significant challenge, often requiring cooperation between national authorities. This complex framework reflects the ongoing struggle to balance data flows with robust protection in our interconnected digital world. Sector-specific liability regimes. Sector-specific liability regimes, as our slide demonstrates, reflect the unique challenges and sensitivities in different industries. The U.S. healthcare sector's HIPAA framework, highlighted here, establishes distinct civil and criminal penalties for violations. In the financial realm, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, mentioned on the slide, imposes specific obligations on financial institutions. The slide's reference to COPPA underscores the special protections afforded to children's data. The PCI-DSS, while not law, introduces contractual liabilities for payment card data handling, as noted on our slide. These varied regimes, interacting with general data protection laws, create a complex regulatory landscape. As our slide emphasizes, organizations operating across multiple industries must carefully navigate these diverse requirements, balancing sector-specific obligations with overarching data protection principles. This specialized approach ensures that unique risks in different sectors are adequately addressed within the broader data protection framework. Defenses and mitigating factors. Defenses and mitigating factors, as our slide illustrates, play a crucial role in the nuanced assessment of data protection liability. GDPR Article 83, highlighted here, introduces all due care as a mitigating factor, recognizing organizations' good faith efforts. The slide's emphasis on robust compliance programs and demonstrable accountability underscores their significance in influencing liability assessments. Prompt breach notification and effective incident response, noted on the slide, can substantially mitigate potential liability. The concept of privacy by design, mentioned here, serves as both a legal obligation and a potential defense. As our slide points out, adherence to industry standards can provide compelling evidence of due diligence in data protection practices. This multifaceted approach to defenses and mitigating factors, as illustrated on our slide, ensures a balanced and fair assessment of liability, encouraging proactive compliance while recognizing the complex challenges organizations face in data protection. Challenges in cross-jurisdictional enforcement. Cross-jurisdictional enforcement, as our slide demonstrates, presents significant challenges in our globalized digital economy. The European Data Protection Board, highlighted here, plays a crucial role in ensuring consistent GDPR application across EU states. The one-stop shop mechanism mentioned on the slide aims to streamline cross-border enforcement, though its implementation faces practical hurdles. International cooperation initiatives like GPEN, noted here, facilitate vital information sharing among authorities. The slide points out the complex task of quantifying damages, especially for non-material harm in data protection cases. As emphasized on our slide, collecting fines from entities without local presence poses practical challenges in enforcement. These multifaceted issues underscore the ongoing need for enhanced international cooperation and harmonization in data protection enforcement, reflecting the borderless nature of data flows and the imperative for consistent global standards in our interconnected digital world. The evolving landscape of data protection liability. The evolving landscape of data protection liability, as our final slide illustrates, reflects the complex interplay of legal, technological, and societal factors in our digital age. The trend towards stricter penalties, highlighted here, signals the growing recognition of data protection's critical importance. As the slide notes, case law plays a pivotal role in shaping liability interpretation, adding dynamism to this field. The emphasis on well-designed liability regimes, mentioned on the slide, underscores their critical role in maintaining trust, protecting rights, and fostering responsible innovation. Our slide concludes by emphasizing the ultimate goal, promoting compliance and respect for privacy, while ensuring that digital innovation benefits society within a framework that protects individual rights and societal values. This multifaceted approach to liability, as illustrated throughout our lecture, forms the bedrock of effective data protection in our rapidly evolving digital world. Thank you for attention.